First of all, I would like to welcome George Marcello, who founded the charitable organization Step by Step shortly after receiving a liver transplant in 1997. For George, this is the 10th anniversary of his organization. I'd like to wish him a happy anniversary and many more to come.
Thank you, sir.
10 years ago, Canada was had one of the lowest rates of organ and tissue donations in the entire world. In the year 2000, George began a 12,000 kilometer walk across Canada to raise awareness about organ and tissue donations. This was his personal crusade, and it drew the attention of Pope John Paul II, resulting in an audience with the Pope and a blessing of this torch of life, and a proclamation for the world that organ and tissue donations is a genuine act of love, and may I add, a gift of new life to the recipients. As human beings, there's a great sorrow at the loss of a loved one. Organ and tissue donations allows others to be saved, and at the same time, the memory of our loved one to live on. A precious gift, as the Pope said, a gift of life. Please take a step forward as a citizen of this country and sign a donor's card today. I would encourage all families to sit down and discuss this option with each other and their children. Please help to save lives. As president of the Cities of New Brunswick Association, I issue a challenge to the other 7 cities to encourage their citizens to become future organ and tissue donors. The SOS 4000 campaign began on October 1st in St. John's, Newfoundland, and will end in Nunavik on June 20th, 2008. Our torch champion, Mary Jane McAfee, proud to have her with us today, is here, and it's a special day for her. Her sister, Rachel Jane, passed away 23 years ago this weekend. She was 6 months old and was an organ donor. And so she's going to do a memory run for her sister along with her friends today. And we're proud that St. John High School is so well represented. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Kristopher Knowles, who in 2004, and Christopher standing back here, visited over 200 Canadian communities at age 14. Still today, he's waiting for a donor to come forward with a match so that his life can continue. And we hope there's a donor out there waiting to make that donation and gift of life to you. We know that Mary Jane will proudly carry this torch as a sign of hope, love, and new life to those in need of organ donations, and also as a remembrance of the generosity of each and every donor. Please become a donor. Now I'd like to introduce our 3 speakers today. I will start with George Marcello. George.
Thank you very much, Councillor Court, for the encouraging words and a great introduction. Today is day 38 of our SOS 4000 campaign, and I'm standing here happy to say that since we started in St. John's, Newfoundland on October the 1st, we've had nothing but passion from these students that have been involved throughout the provinces. And when I first heard the news about Mary Jane McAfee being selected, as we usually do, we asked for a picture of themselves, and she sent me a picture of the whole team, which was great, because now we know exactly who's going to be walking with you today. And we also received a picture of yourself. And then shortly after that, I heard the news about Rachel, and I think, like anybody else, once that story was shared to me, it was hard for me to fight off tears, and almost everybody I've been in contact with since then have felt the same way. So today it gives Step by Step and myself personally great honor to carry the torch in Rachel's memory. And while I'm here, I also want to thank the Colonial Inn. We have the owner here, Mr. Bill, who has been kind enough to donate rooms for us. We're going to be staying in St. John for a couple of days, and we want to thank you for that. and also Jungle Gyms for helping to feed us. And that's all we need, just a place to lay our head and to eat, and that's how we make our way from community to community. So our goal, our ultimate goal is to one day have nobody in Canada having to wait desperately for an organ and tissue donations. And we feel in our hearts that this goal is achievable. We can do it. And with the passion of students like Mary Jane today and students right across the country, that's going to be our ultimate goal, to save every single person that's on that waiting list so that they can live healthy and productive lives. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Now I'll call upon Kristopher Knowles to come forward.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I'd just like to say that it is an honor to have Rachel as our memory today, and we would also like to thank Mary Jane for being the Torch Champion. About 3 years ago, I did a walk across Canada carrying the Torch of Life, and I believe that it helps save lives because it helped save my life. I've been waiting for a liver transplant for 17 years now, and for the past 3 years I've been out of the hospital and doing well. They took me off the list 3 years ago as well, so all they say is that I'm healthy, and I just think that it was because of my walk, the torch that I carried, and the prayers that I've got right across Canada, and I am now honored to pass it to your representative in St. John, to Mary Jane, and please carry it proudly, and you could also help save lives with Step by Step. So thank you for that, and thanks for the students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. Now it's a proud moment for me to ask Mary Jane McAfee to come forward to represent her sister.
Hello, Councillor Court, George Marcello, Kristopher Knowles, and people of St. John. It's a real honor for me today to be able to carry the torch, and especially in the memory of my sister, Rachel Jane. I'm hoping that through the events today, that more people will become aware of just how important organ donations are. I also hope that everyone here will be inspired to become organ donors. 23 years ago yesterday, my older sister, Rachel Jane, passed away unexpectedly when she was only 6 months old. My parents were faced with the decision of whether to donate, and they were able to donate her corneas. Who knows, perhaps a member of your family, one of your friends, or even someone here today received the gift of sight from my sister. To give the gift of organs or tissues after you're gone is possibly one of the best gifts you could ever give. You could save up to 8 people's lives. Please, make your decision today. You can make a difference. Thank you.
Very good.
You know what I had? I had it Ensure, and I carry my own high fiber cereal with me, and so I asked Chris to give me a nice bowl downstairs, and mixed it all in. So ready to go for the day now.
Gotcha. Ensure. Yeah, it's tasted better lately.
It is actually.
Too for my
yeah.
time, so.
Yeah.
Sure. Just a bit, yeah. George, if you can say and spell your first and last name.
It's George Marcello, M-A-R-C-E-L-L-O.
And your title?
It's the CEO and founder of Step by Step.
And what is Step by Step?
Step by Step is a non-profit charitable organization, and we're committed and dedicated to address Canada's critical shortage of organ and tissue donations.
Tell me about that. What is the critical situation?
Well, in Canada, there's presently over 4,000 Canadians that need life-saving organ transplants. And Canada has one of the lowest organ donation rates in the entire world. and we need to change that. Almost every day somebody is passing away in Canada waiting for these gifts, and we need people to understand how important this is, and that's why we're conducting this campaign, SOS 4000.
You were here, and we caught up with you in Moncton about 3 years ago. I was just watching that video. How have things changed since then?
Well, they have changed. They've slightly improved, but we still have a long ways to go. We still haven't really tackled some of the hard issues involving organizations, but awareness is always the key. You can't just do something one day and then forget about it. You got to keep doing this, and that's why we're still continuing doing our work, because there's a lot more work to do.
What are the hard issues? Tell me a couple of them.
Well, in our system presently, sometimes it becomes very difficult, even though you're trying to make your wish known, to actually have your organs donated. And so it could come down to an administrative problem. So for years now, as everybody knows, we've been advocating the opt-out system that's being presently used in Europe. So we've planted the seeds for governments to look at that system, where everybody would be registered as an organ donor unless they opted out. Therefore, we wouldn't be losing as many people as we have. People want to donate their organs, they just don't have the time to get around to it, and sometimes making their wishes known to their family. So in this system, everything's already done. So administratively, it's all done, and people that don't want to be on, wouldn't want to be on that list, would take their names off. Now, of course, that sparked a little controversy when some of the government leaders looked at it, and I mean, for the past number of years, I've had many debates and much dialogue, so who knows, maybe that's still in the making down the road. But right now, we're just focusing on the students in this campaign to carry the torch and become ambassadors, and let everybody know how important this is. And through the students, we're hoping the adults could be reached.
So tell me about that. Is this the first time you've used students on your campaign?
No, it's not. We've used them a bit in my campaign and in Kristopher's campaign 3 years ago. We've actually organized almost 1,000 schools during Kristopher's Wish campaign, and during that time we found out that the students were very attentive to this issue, and we thought, well, what better way than to have somebody pick one of their very own to represent their own communities and then become ambassadors. So that's where we came up with the name Student Torch Champion. So since we started October the 1st, there's been about 30 different torch champions along the way, along the Maritimes, and as you'll see today, each one of them is really passionately involved, and what better way to reach their peers than having one of their own.
Why is it important to get students involved in this campaign? What do they mean to the future of this issue?
Well, students have a special way of reaching everybody's heart. I mean, just imagine if your child came up to you and your spouse and said, if anything should ever happen to me, can you please donate my organs if I pass away? Now that's a powerful, powerful statement coming from a student. So rather than having sometimes the adults make that difficult conversation with the kids, we're encouraging kids to do this with their spouses. So when you have an entire school talking about this issue, it makes it a lot easier for the community to accept it as well. So I think that's really the heart of it, why we have kids selected during this campaign.
You were telling me that there is a unique issue in the Maritimes. Tell me about that.
Yes, the Maritimes right now is the only provinces that presently don't have a stranger live donor program. And what I mean by that, if you or I wanted to donate a piece of our liver or one kidney or a piece of our lung to a complete stranger, we wouldn't be able to do that. They only have family members where you can do that in the Maritimes. and the other provinces have adapted the stranger live donor, and Ontario and BC went a little bit further. They're actually compensating some of the expenses that come along with doing this for the donor. So we're not really right now trying to make any big advocacy campaign, but since we've noticed this in the Maritimes, we're strongly urging every maritime government to really look at this and see if they can also adapt it in the Maritimes.
Why is it so important to do that?
Well, because there's a lot of people that would go that extra mile in the Maritimes, that would, knowing that there's 266 people in the Maritimes that are presently waiting for organ transplants. There's people that'll go that extra mile and donate a piece of their liver or one of their kidneys to them. So why prohibit that from happening? Why not have that as an available option? So I think it is important that the Maritimes adapt that and make it, at least give people the option of someone that would want to do something like that.
Are things getting better?
Slowly, too slow for my liking, and you know, we could do a lot better. And you know, again, I think it's through the students that we'll be able to express this. That we can do a lot better, and a lot more can be done. And we're actually going to go as far as say that we can solve the entire problem. So over 4,000 people that presently need organs and tissues in our country, all of them can be saved. That's what we're shooting for. Spain is very close to that. They just reported 96% in other European countries. So why can't we do the same here? So we're going to keep at this. We're not going away. We're going to do this on a yearly basis until we reach our goal of saving everybody on that waiting list.
I've asked myself that many times.
Yes, it's George Marcello. I'm the CEO and founder of Step by Step, a charitable organization. Our mission is to address the critical shortage of organ and tissue donations in Canada.
Today?
Sure. Well, what's happening today, it's day 36 of our SOS 4000 torch relay across Canada. And today a student has been selected from St. John High School. Her name is Mary J. McAfee, and she's going to be carrying the torch, and she's called the St. John Torch Champion. She will become an ambassador for organ and tissue donation for the rest of the year here, doing various events and activities. And today's a very special day for that family, and I think for the community of St. John as well, because she's dedicating, and we're dedicating the day to the memory of her sister, Rachel Jane McAfee, who 23 years ago to this day lost her life. She was 6 months old, and the families donated her organs and tissues.
What would you say this means to have this young lady here?
It means a lot, you know, for a student that's 17 years old to want to do something to reach all of St. John about how important this issue. It means a lot. It has to have some effect on everybody in St. John that's going to be watching this or hearing this or reading about this. You know, how this student and many other students are urging everybody in St. John to become organ donors. It's a way of getting to everybody's hearts and minds.
And you're mentioning that people shouldn't have to wait for transplants?
No, we shouldn't have to wait on this at all. We should be able to
I had
everybody on the waiting list will receive an organ transplant, and that is very possible, and that's our ultimate goal. It might not be around the corner, but I know if we keep at this and we keep getting students involved, the community involved, and the media involved, that we'll get there.
Why aren't we getting there?
Well, I think there's a lack of political will right now. We can do a lot more with our governments in this, and we need to understand that this issue needs to have the same profile as any of the other leading issues, and that if we can get to that status, we'll be able to solve it, because our remedy to this isn't to look for a cure in a laboratory. Our remedy is to reach everybody so everybody can become an organ donor. If we reach that, then we have the problem solved. So it's a very simple problem to solve. It's just been very difficult to proceed with.
How many people are waiting?
Presently, there's over 4,000 Canadians that are waiting in Canada, and that's a combination of men, women, and children.
And people die waiting.
Almost every day somebody's dying on that waiting list, waiting. And when you're told you're on the waiting list, that's the good news. The bad news is that because Canada has one of the lowest rates, you're waiting desperately. Radio, and we have some other counties that are today, and everybody else here. So he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Time is it?
It is 12:40.
This is their room now.
So what's going on today, Josie?
Well, today, as you can see, Chris, there's a lot of media here, and there's a lot of, you can feel the energy.
I can.
I can too, and it's,
I was just shocked when you were doing that interview. Like 6 people came out to the cameras. Like, whoa.
Yeah, it's just
crazy.
It feels like old times.
It does.
And so today's special day because remember we're doing it in the memory of Rachel Jane.
Yep.
And, the family's here, and this is what it's really all about, Chris.
Good. This is what we're
I'm going to
doing.
talk to you. All right.
Value of
And I feel very honored today to be able to
indicate that Marcello has dealt with this ministry for years?
Are you checking that on?
I think it's something that people don't think about. People don't like to think about like death and things, but it's something really important. Due to death, it saved so many people's lives. Like a couple of years ago, only 14 out of a million people were actually on board.
Do you think there are misconceptions? Do you think people are afraid?
Yeah, perhaps they're a bit afraid, but there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just really good all around. It's a good cause.
So what are you doing today?
Well, I know I carry the torch from here to St. John High, where a few classes will listen to how important it is to try and make them aware. I don't know really. I think she was really moved by it. It was a hard time in her life.
This fellow right here, Kristopher. Waiting for Liberty. Mary Jane, do you have a few words to say?
I just want to say it's a real honor today to be able to carry this torch, especially in the memory of my sister. And I hope that everyone out there is inspired to become an organ donor. It's something very important, and you should all think about it.
The City of St. John is proud to have Mary Jane as our city champion and to carry on the tradition.
Okay. So before we make our way walking, we're going to give the media people about 5 minutes to set themselves up on our King Street. So we'll just kind of wait a few minutes for them to do that.
I always wanted to change color anyway.
Andrew's like, oh, sorry.
It's a great thing. You might want to hold it.
What's your hair?
Just grab it on the bottom, so that way when you're carrying it, you won't be worrying about I would expect your little sister or older sister looking down and proud of this moment. 23 years ago was 6 months old when she died, and her organs were donated at that time. Okay?
Right now, I'm holding the torch of life, a torch which has been carried across Canada in a 769-day walk, a torch which has been on tours around Europe, a torch which has been blessed by Pope John Paul, carried by over 1 million people, all to try to raise awareness of the importance of organ donation. I stand before you today, trying to inspire you to become an organ donor. At our age, we don't think about it enough. We think we still have our whole life to make this decision, but the truth is, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. 23 years ago yesterday, my older sister, Rachel Jane, passed away unexpectedly when she was only 6 months old. My parents were faced with the decision of whether or not to donate, and they were able to donate her corneas. Who knows? Perhaps a member of your family, one of your friends, or even someone here in this room today, received the gift of sight from my sister. Every day, someone in Canada passes away because they could not receive an organ transplant. A couple of years ago, only 14 out of 1 million people were organ donors. One person who donates could save up to 8 people's lives. Make your decision today and tell a parent or a doctor or someone that you want to be an organ donor. Or when it comes time to renew your Medicare says you want to become a donor. You can call the Service New Brunswick to receive a donor card or a donor sticker. You can make a difference. Someday you could save lives. Choose to become a donor. Thank you.
In closing, I'll ask you to take 3 steps. The first step is to go home this evening and discuss what you've heard here today with your parents. The second step is to encourage your parents, and maybe they'll encourage you to become donors. And the third step is a challenge. I challenge this school to challenge the other schools in the city of St. John to see how many people they can get to sign donor cards when the time comes. Thank you very much. And I'd like to give a round of applause to the 3 champions who are on stage here today, who understand the gift of life, the gift of love, and they want to save lives, and so can you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Court. And certainly to the 3 Torch Champions, and also the support of the girls' senior team. I think that was very important to the team, so thank you for being part of that as well. So ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the assembly. Thank you very much to the teachers for allowing me to come. Have a good afternoon.
23 years ago, was 6 months old when she died, and her organs were donated at that time. Okay?
Holding the torch of life, a torch which has been carried across Canada in a 769-day walk, a torch which has been on tours around Europe, a torch which has been blessed by Pope John Paul, carried by over 1 million people, all to try to raise awareness of the importance of organ donation. I stand before you today, trying to inspire you to become an organ donor. At our age, we don't think about it enough. We think we still have our whole life to make this decision, but the truth is, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. 23 years ago yesterday, my older sister, Rachel Jane, passed away unexpectedly when she was only 6 months old. My parents were faced with the decision of whether or not to donate, and they were able to donate her corneas. Who knows? Perhaps a member of your family, one of your friends, or even someone here in this room today, received the gift of sight from my sister. Every day, someone in Canada passes away because they could not receive an organ transplant. A couple of years ago, only 14 out of 1 million people were organ donors. One person who donates could save up to 8 people's lives. Make your decision today and tell a parent or a doctor or someone that you want to be an organ donor. Or when it comes time to renew your Medicare card, check the box that says you want to become a donor. You can call the Service New Brunswick to receive a donor card or a donor sticker. You can make a difference. Someday you could save lives. Choose to become a donor. Thank you.
In closing, I'll ask you to take 3 steps. The first step is to go home this evening and discuss what you've heard here today with your parents. The second step is to encourage your parents, and maybe they'll encourage you to become donors. And the third step is a challenge. I challenge this school to challenge the other schools in the city of St. John to see how many people they can get to sign donor cards when the time comes. Thank you very much. And I'd like to give a round of applause to the 3 champions who are on stage here today, who understand the gift of life, the gift of love, and they want to save lives, and so can you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Court. And certainly to the 3 Torch Champions, and also the support of the girls' senior team. I think that was very important to the team, so thank you for being part of that as well. So ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the assembly. Thank you very much to the team. teachers for allowing me to come. Have a good afternoon.
Kelly's Cross, PEI. It is a question asked when we renew Medicare cards or driver's licenses. Do you want to be an organ donor? One girl in our region is carrying a torch to make sure more of us answer yes. Her story when Evening News continues. Stay tuned to Global Free response to the family violence issue. It's also the kickoff for the annual Purple Ribbon campaign, which raises money for women in this region who face domestic abuse. Meanwhile, a relay in St. John today is hoping to bring attention to a matter of life and death, organ donations. This country has one of the lowest rates in the industrialized world. As Chris Corday reports, a small group of Canadians is hoping to change that.
I just want to say it's a real honor today to be able to carry this torch.
Mary Jane McAfee takes this torch in memory of her baby sister, who died 23 years ago to this week.
She passed away unexpectedly when she was only 6 months old, and my parents were faced with the decision of organ donation.
But the good that came out of it is that we were able to donate her cornea, and as far as we know, that made a difference in someone else's life.
I was getting tired.
This is the St. John leg of a cross-Canada relay. High schoolers like Mary Jane raising awareness about a major shortage of organ and tissue donors in Canada, hoping to inspire more people to register as donors.
Every day someone's dying because they could not get an organ transplant. And you never know what could happen in the future. You need to make your decision today.
3 years ago, we told you about another walk in Moncton for the same cause. Kristopher Knowles walked across Canada telling people his story. He's waited for a liver transplant for 17 years. He's still waiting and says people still need to be reminded about what they can do.
The cure is in yourself. It's not in the lab. You don't have to find a medicine for it. It's yourself. It's your own being. And what not gracious gift to do is donate your organs and become a hero.
The shortage of organ donors is a national problem, but it's also critical in the Maritimes. Right now, 260 people are waiting for organs in Atlantic Canada. Organizer George Marcello says that can be changed.
We can solve the entire problem. So over 4,000 people that presently need organs and tissues in our country, all of them could be saved. That's what we're shooting for.
The relay has 8 more stops in New Brunswick over the next 2 weeks, passing the torch on to a few more students, but relaying their message to as many as they can. Chris Corday, CBC News, St. John.
In supermarkets. So, what do you want?
I can't believe they showed a picture of me
and I want them to start now. Whenever I want them to start.
And I want
You see my aunt, my dad?
Which free long distance? To my sister in Moncton, mom in Vancouver.
To friends.
We're
Wherever
up
they
next
are.
on this
I
one,
want
so
a
we got
faster
both of them
internet
now.
connection.
With more security included.
Faster. Way faster.
And I want it all for less. Only Rogers Bundles gives you more for less, from $99 a month.
Obsessing over celebrity, that's wrong. Unless that celebrity is bacon. Bacon! Introducing the Baconator from Wendy's. 6 strips of bacon piled high atop 2 fresh, never frozen beef patties. Obsess a little.
I bingo when I want a fun new way to play online. Over $27,000 in jackpots has already been won. Games start at only $1, so why not play now? Just sign up safely and securely at alc.ca.
A St. John High School student has joined the battle to raise awareness of the need for organ donation. There are 4,000 people in Canada on a waiting list for organs. Marianne McAfee is convinced that number can be reduced. More from Global's Lauren Daltron.
Carrying this torch for a group called SOS4000 is a personal journey for 17-year-old Marianne McAfee.
I just want to let everyone out there know that I hope you think about organ donation because it's something really important, and one person who donates could save up to 8 people's lives.
23 years ago this weekend, McAfee's 6-month-old sister Rachel died. Her mother says at the time organ donation was tough to think about.
You're overcome with grief, and it's not an easy, but we gladly said we would donate organs, and the only thing that was medically able to be used was the cornea.
I just thought it was neat because who knows, perhaps someone out there today received sight from my sister.
17-year-old Kristopher Knowles has spent 12 years on the list waiting for a liver transplant, but is now in better health.
Some Canadians do know about organ and tissue donation, but that's the ones that already have a part of organ and tissue donation. Someone needs it, someone's received it.
There are now 81 people in New Brunswick whose health depends on the donation of an organ. The easiest way to become a donor is to tick off a box the next time you apply for a Medicare card. SOS4000 brought McAfee and their message to these high school students.
I think students can find their way into the hearts and minds of not only their family, but the community itself. When the community hears that this is a heartfelt message from students, I'm sure we're going to affect every community right across Canada.
I've already have one on my Medicare card.
When I renew my Medicare card, yeah.
I already signed with my Medicare as well.
As of this fall, 236,000 people in New Brunswick have agreed to become an organ donor. 200,000 have said no. Lauren Eltrup, Global News, St. John.
People in St. John today launched an annual campaign to eliminate violence against women. But one of the biggest challenges they continue.
Campaign SOS4000 started October 1st of this year, and it will end in 2008 in Nunavut. And 10 years ago, Canada had one of the lowest rates of organ and tissue donations in the entire world. In the year 2000, George began a 12,000-kilometer walk across Canada to raise awareness of organs and tissue donations. His personal crusade to the attention of Pope John Paul II, resulting in an audience with the Pope and the blessing of the torch of life, and a proclamation to the world that organ and tissue donation is a genuine act of love. May I add a gift of new life to the recipients. As human beings, there's great sorrow at the loss of a loved one. Organ and tissue donations allow others to be saved, and at the same time, the memory of a loved one to live on. Precious gift as opposed to the gift of life. We hope that citizens will please take a step forward and sign up the donor's card today. Also with us is Kristopher Knowles. In 2004, he visited over 200 Canadian cities when he was 14 years old. He's 17 today and still looking for a donor. And our champion for the city of St. John is a student from St. John High School, and she's sitting up there with her mother, Mary Jane McAfee, who's here with her mother. She was chosen as the champion from St. John High School, and it's a special occasion for the family, the McAfee family. 23 years ago, Mary Jane's older sister, Rachel Jane, was only 6 months old when she died, and she was a donor. And so I want to thank the three champions who were there. They're here in St. John. It's day number 38, I think. George, day number 38. And I think they deserve a round of applause because they were walking because they want to save someone else's life. And we would encourage all people to consider signing the winner card the next time you get a chance, whether it's your driver's license or now, I guess it's your identification that you sign us in the province of New Brunswick, to indicate that if something happens, you're making valuable organs and somebody else can continue their life. So I'd like to recognize them. We're sitting up on the top row there, and it was certainly a great day. Yeah.
City, and the mayor was there from BDI, and he had to rush home to meet you in Summerside, and he didn't make it either because he was storm stayed along with me. So and I apologize today that I couldn't be at City Hall. When he came up to City Hall and asked the court, being a former teacher at St. John High School, I asked him to be there to welcome the high school people. So and I kidney doctor. So I actually polled on Saturday morning for the Kidney Foundation here. I'm very involved local poll for the Kidney Foundation. So congratulations and keep up the good work and keep walking. Thank you.
Thank you.